What's up, everybody? It's John's podcast. It's my lovely friend Hannah.
Hi,
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Just alive and well. Just waking up, drinking my coffee, trying to get the day started. All right. So we're here on Server Talk, talking about the food industry pretty much. We're gonna lay down some bases, vent about some stuff, and just talk about the daily life as a server or manager or mixologist, whatever industry people are in or who they're listening to. So talk a little bit about that. Just offer it.
Okay. Well, it's something I've done since I was 16. I'm 30 now. So I started as a host, and then I started serving, and then obviously your end goal, bartender or manager in the future. Right now I bartend too. So
Yeah.
it's very lucrative. It's fast paced, and I feel like it's not for everybody. Everyone who's in the industry almost has the same personality, the ones that mesh well,
Yeah.
you know.
The ones that are like truly dedicated. I see. Like, trust me, I get it when you say it's not for everybody because when I first got into it, I had no idea what I was getting into. I just even for me, how I started, I ended up actually going to bartending school, and I was trying to just be a bartender. And the company I started with pretty much just was like, we just don't hire bartenders, even if, you have a certificate or whatever it is. We just go from server to that. So I'm like, okay, I get it. Jumped into that. I was like, holy crap. like, like it's crazy how like we multitask more than we usually on a daily basis, because you gotta do so many things in such little time and you gotta make sure matters and meet with the guests and everything like that, which is cool. Which is a great experience to have, and especially in the work industry or the food industry. Um, but yeah, trust me, I get it. I put my years in that shit too. Cause I'm 30 myself.
No, and that's one thing. They don't hire outside bartenders. You have to go in, you have to prove yourself. It's kind of the most, it makes your skin thick, in my opinion. I feel like everybody should have a little bit of restaurant industry under their belt, even
Yeah.
if it's just for a couple years, you know?
Oh, 100%. And as far as that, I've been saying this for a long time. I feel like even it's such a small thing, but it could turn into a huge thing, especially when you go out to eat and knowledgeable, excuse me, for servers and bartenders and all that. I feel like it should be brought up at least a couple of times in school. Just like how, remember in middle school, they used to teach you how to write a check and
Yeah.
high school stuff like that. I feel like they should have at least acknowledged like, percentage, how to tip when you're in a restaurant, stuff like that. Cause it's weird until this day, a lot of people still don't understand like we live off of that. That's our income. That's our money. That's what we live based off of.
A lot
And
of people get a paycheck. I tell people still, like, I shine the light on a lot of people, and I literally don't get a paycheck. Their jaw hits the floor. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, you're probably feeling pretty bad about leaving that young girl who has two kids at home, nothing on her
yeah,
bill. I like, then she paid taxes on it too, you know?
yeah. And then on top of that, it just depends on the restaurant you're working for. Also tip share too. You have a percentage that goes out to the staff, like bussers, etc. Um, you know what I mean? It's just like,
That's what I have here. And that is very, very odd to me because I've never worked anywhere that doesn't have a tip out.
really, that's different. Yeah, because I
Nope,
hear
we don't out.
that's good.
Odd. I've never seen like it, but I don't know if it's just the area because I work in Kentucky and I used to live in Indiana. And then, I mean, we had to tip out 2% of our sales, not what we made of our sales. So if you pulled over 20% all day, if you're a good server or bartender, you should have tip out shouldn't even matter. It should be piddly pennies. But I think that, yeah, I don't know, they just don't have it. And I think it's weird. I think it's super weird.
Well, granted, that's a good thing for you guys because it's a pain in the ass over here with that because we're paying out, people that don't even do their job, and it's like it
Oh,
sucks. You get what I'm saying? It's just like
no, I understand. It helps your percentage at the end of the day because where I've turned this into a career, like I take into consideration, like, okay, because I've dropped out of college 3 times. I have 2 kids. This is what I've done. This is how I've like managed to pay all the bills. And I don't know, you just have to look at it, I don't know, as a whole, I guess, like count your percentage. No, are you making over 20%? Know that it's worth it. Average out your hours. There's an app called Tipsy,
I
the
was just
dollar
about to
sign.
mention that. Yeah.
Yes. You use that and it actually puts it into perspective like, wow, I can't go work at said retailer for $12 an hour and make it, it's just about money management. You have to have that. A
Yeah.
lot of them don't.
They no, they don't. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of resources nowadays that can help you with that, like especially for people that are like, oh, I can never do this. This is crazy, blah, blah. Like I wouldn't make money. I'm like, dude, I've known people that actually, like for yourself, they say you went to college. I ask people that know that have actually got 3 bachelor degrees and they're still in the food industry. At the end of the day, no
Yeah.
matter what you're doing,
Yes.
it's you're still gonna fall back to what you're not, I wouldn't say just used to, but what you're good at. And for us, we're good at that stuff. This is what we do.
My friend Heather has a degree from IU and she has it hanging on her wall and she bartends full time. But she's smart and she has like a Roth IRA and stuff,
Heck yeah.
which is something I'm actually considering. Like I am a little late to the game, but I need to start thinking about that, you know.
It's
And
better
that's
late
my
than
advice to
never.
anything to this is think about your 401k.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely, I would recommend to pay attention on that for a lot of people that are in industry and stuff like that. Because in the long run, that shall bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
I have a buddy I was just talking to last night, and he's up there, pretty much up there. And he was telling me how prior before where he used to work at, that he used to manage the back of the house, front of the house at the same time, have to make sure all the orders come out just in time, and doing all that. And then he was just like, man, like it was just so much. I wouldn't recommend it on even on my worst enemy. It was the worst thing. And then as soon as I left, because I knew that I was worth more than what I was doing. I was like, granted, obviously, when it comes to a certain time and you realize you're not making the money, you're gonna realize that, of course. But yeah, he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I ended up leaving. I would say about 6 months later, that whole place ended up just shutting down. And it was a good place. It was a really good known place. It was on like a strip, he said somewhere. And he said that it was just wow to him. Like certain people that are in the industry actually holds it together because they actually dedicate themselves to that
Yeah.
establishment.
And you don't have good leaders, you can make the whole ship sink because you can't, I mean, the entire operations on your hands
Mm.
and will come back because of their good experiences. And if they're having bad servers, they're not having good managers, and then the guests aren't having a good experience, then everybody suffers. But that's what the one thing I think I hate about this industry. It can be so lucrative for 3 weeks in a row, and one little minor change can happen in the week, whether it be the weather or whether it be school starting, change in roles at work, your money can be affected.
Oh
The restaurant
yeah.
virtually it could just shut down and then you have nothing to go
Yeah.
for, you know.
That was a prime example.
Yeah, the pandemic was a prime,
I was
definitely.
I was just about to mention that. Yeah, the pandemic, but you also gotta think too, like when it comes to the pandemic, everybody had to eat. You know what I mean? It at the same time it did suck for the food industry because you had to think about 50% capacity. You got to think about everything that was just so fairly new. We were scared to work. We were scared to do all this stuff, be on a normal basis. So it affected a lot of us, especially financials.
Oh, it 100% did, especially for the people who didn't live in a state where they were doing as good of unemployment, because that was pretty much state to state. I felt like everywhere was different.
Small businesses, yeah.
But also, I don't know, have you worked in the industry since the pandemic, or you have?
Yeah, I've been doing it for like 7, 8 years.
Okay. I feel like, do you not think that the clientele got a little wonky like post COVID? Like everybody kind of forgot how to like people out in public. Does that make sense?
God, that was me. I forgot how to people. Oh
And
God.
people just, I don't know, it was just wild. Like I had to, First of all, I felt like you had to remember to bring salt and pepper packets to the table. That's something I never had to think that somebody's going to ask for. Because obviously the ultimate goal is everything at the table before they have to ask for it. You know what they're going to need because you do this every day, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So like, packets, like that's so silly. And people would, I don't know, little stuff like that. Weird.
Bless you. Yeah. I definitely, trust me. I completely understand because when it first started coming back up to opening, well, it's all right. So my story is a little weird when it comes to like the pandemic. So when that happened, my restaurant basically went down to go and cut a lot of people's hours. Like everybody was just like not working. They had the option either, hey, you want to work to go, or you can just work off your unemployment, or you stay on your unemployment. Me, I was like, I'm losing my mind. I have to get out this damn house, right? So I ended up doing to go. Of course, you always got your favoritism. You always got that, that the ones that are like the star childs and like they kind of put them up front first before the others. And I'm like, hold up. First of all, I this is what I straight up said to the GM or partner owner. I was like, I helped you open your restaurant, but you know what I mean? I've been dedicating myself for like 5 years in this restaurant industry, and I wasn't one of your first people to call. You know what I mean? Like I was your head honcho, bro. Like I get it. I'm technically not qualified to do to go, but it's easy at just putting stuff in boxes, make sure it's organized, and make sure what they ordered is prior to the order. That's it. So let alone I was a little salty on that. Long story short, I had an old manager that actually was opening up another restaurant, and I reached out to him after I started noticing shady stuff. And then from there, he was like, yeah, come in for an interview. I got you, blah, blah, blah. Just mention me. I was like, okay. I go in there. It's right off the Pier Strip. I'm telling you, I had no regrets. I went in there, got an interview, casual conversation. These people were just chill as they can be. And once we got started, granted, this was like the first restaurant in the county um that was in the area. That's the first one that was open there. Pandemic was going on. So, and plus like the pier that we're at, it's been closed for 7 years. That was just reopening during pandemic time. So all that was going on. Finally opened, pier opened. We got flooded with people. Like, I mean, capacity, all that stuff didn't even matter. It got to the point where half the department literally had to walk in and tell people, you can't sit here, you can't sit here, you can't sit here. And like, I'm like, oh my God, it's getting real. But I'm telling you, the money that I was making was stupid. It was,
We at 50% capacity at the steakhouse I worked at after so it was shut down for a little while. I can't remember the dates because I still feel like lost in 2019 sometimes.
yeah,
Right started it even at 50% capacity, our sales were up. It'd be nothing for me to honestly serve or bartend because of the huge groups that came there. I would sell $3,000 on a double.
yeah,
Like that's, I mean, wild. We were just and it was, you're at 50% capacity. So there's that. I mean, some of them were still able to get unemployment because there was a loophole
right.
because our store is at 50% capacity. So, I mean, it is what it is. That was a wild time though. I'm glad we're past it mostly.
God, me too.
Like,
Yeah, there's still some people out there with the whole, wearing the mask thing, which is I respect, I get it 100%,
oh
but
yeah, to each their own. Do I want to wear one? No, not while I'm working, especially I read lips a lot of the time and like I can't hear.
yeah,
It's
it's
loud where I work. So, I mean, that was always hard.
and that's another thing I want to bring up too. Like when we say huh or repeat one more time, it's because it's freaking loud. Okay. It's
Yeah.
not, we're deaf or anything like that. Or we want you to repeat yourself. It's just we just want to make sure you what you said is what we heard. It's aggravating.
No, yeah, I know. There are days where people just get under your skin, but honestly, for the most part, I love doing this. Getting to wake up, get the kids ready for school, put them on a bus, put on my makeup, go to work and interact and talk to people all day. Cool people sometimes. When I have bad tables, it's a challenge to me. I try to make them like me. Like we're
Yeah.
not like you're gonna like me and you're gonna like it, you know?
Yeah.
And but it's fun. I love it. And I think I think everybody should do this. My kids play waiter and bartender, and Liam, or when we go out to eat, Liam will order like, I'll take a double chocolate milk. So he's got that life too.
Yeah, can I get spray on the rocks?
That's so
No,
fun.
yeah, that's cool. That's cool. You gotta teach them young too. So like, when they get older, because I feel like even when it comes to a younger generation, like kids that are in high school that go out to eat with their friends, stuff like that, they still don't know how to tip. And it's
No,
like
some do, and I believe the some that do, I think it's because their mom, their sister, their aunt, somebody does this, and they told them, "Listen here, you little shits, you're
yeah,
all gonna put a 5 spot on the table, or you're not going."
right, right,
Which is exactly, I mean, what I'm going to tell mine when they go out, when they get to drive and stuff. I mean, that's the lesson I want to pass on to
right,
them.
right. Yeah. I definitely understand that. I mean, for me, I
But
don't
I
have
give shitty service, you shouldn't get a good tip.
oh
You should,
God, no.
and you shouldn't get any benefits if you can't. I mean, serve your way out of a brown paper sack. You know,
No, I get it. Cause like for like there was an experience I had this fairly new restaurant and it looked pretty gas too. And I was like, this looks really good. So we ended up going out there, just try it out and amazing drinks. That's the thing that pisses me off. It's always the restaurant has the most amazing drinks to have the shittiest experience with servers. And I'm like, I get it. Like, I understand if you're busy. Like, I'm so laid back. I don't expect nothing. Like, I'm there, my mind shut off. I just want to drink in front of me, right? You
the bare
get
minimum.
there. Yeah, I get there. I sit down, and this is what messed me up. So there was a server and a girl, and there was another one that was in training. And this is what messed me up. So the lady that was in training that I didn't know that I thought that was a server at first came up to me and she's like, hey guys, all bubbly and energetic. And the other girl that came up, she pretty much kind of took over. She's like, what do you guys want? I'm like, we just sat down, first of all, and then in my mind, I'm like, who talks to people like that? You know what I mean? Especially when you have your first guest and you don't know it's a first experience, you don't want to leave that kind of impression. So anyways, get to the whole thing, we're just like, yeah, it kind of sucked. So then we just ordered an appetizer or whatever, and because the girl was just rude, I was like, what is your problem? Like, do you not like it so far? Like in my mind, I'm like, you just quit, just save yourself and just go, let this ladies do her thing. So that's what goes wrong through my mind. And then I came up to the lady, the older lady that I said at first I thought that was our server. I was trying to give her a tip. I was like, hey, here you go. And she's like, no, I can't take it. I'm like, why? She's like, because I'm in training. I'm like, what? I was like, I thought you were the server and I thought she was a trainee. Like, that blew my mind because like she acted so professional and so attentive and just like likable. The other one was
Hmm.
just like, what do you want? Like with the attitude, like like it was her first day and she just didn't really care for the job. So I'm like, wow. And she's like, yeah, the tip has to go to her. She tried taking the tip. I was like, I was like, no. And I like took like maybe $5 and I was like, here you go. And then I just paid the bill and I left. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't want to be that guy, but if you're gonna give attitude for no reason, especially when it's not even busy, like I don't understand. Like
I feel like some girls walk up to tables with attitude that they assume they're not going to get any money off of. Um, I hate that because you're no better than anybody else. And sometimes you don't get a good tip, but at least you'd better have a better experience. I'd rather everybody like me and leave me 5 on 50 because they don't know any better because they haven't, ever gone out in public or something. Then I don't know. It would just be a good time instead
well,
of just being,
yeah,
I hate
exactly. I know, trust me too. And then granted, you never know, like the next person you're with, or then they could see you and be like, oh, that was a good server, even though we kind of tipped and shitty, I'll come home next time. You know what I mean? Like you never know. You never know what you get, where you get, you
no,
know.
and that's why you have to be aware of your surroundings. It's easy for servers and bartenders to turn their blinders on to what's not in their section. But if you keep your eye out, which is something that I do because it's a dog eat dog world and your income is solely based on who you take care of, I keep my eye out. I look who's been sitting for XYZ many minutes. You know what I mean? Like who is still waiting on another beer and I don't even have a ticket to pour it here at the bar, you know? Like I keep an eye out on that. And then if you can swoop in, save the day, you got you a regular, you can guarantee 10, 15, maybe, I mean, maybe 5, but maybe 50. Like you never know. And that could be every Tuesday. Regulars is what can make or break you. And
Yeah.
I feel if you don't have any regulars, then that's going to show how you are as a server. And that's something I wish that management sometimes I feel like looks at stuff from behind the scenes because they've not been in our shoes. But if they take a look and start looking through credit slips, our managers at other places, they would look through our credit slips, see who's making what, because they want to know.
Exactly.
Like they were curious about who's actually taking care of people and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. But then again,
That's one thing about me is that we're all going to have a good time. Like I said, I'm going to make you guys like me, even if you don't want to.
right. No. Granted, yeah, you kill it with kindness. And I swear to you, 9 out of 10, that always works. Because
Mhm.
I've had people that are just straight up rude as hell from the beginning, loving me at the end. All he needs is just some food in them. That's all.
Yeah, they were hangry. That's the problem. And they were thirsty. And that's something that when I have to train, and I hate training, I just wish people would stay out of my way when I'm working. But keep
Okay.
those drinks full. That's when I was trained, when I climbed the ladder where I worked first, like if those drinks are full, the restaurant could be on fucking fire and everything's gonna be okay if their
Yeah.
drinks are like I bring refills before I put in a big party's order
Right.
because you're gonna be at that PC for a minute and they're gonna need to have drinks, you
Yeah.
know, little stuff like that people don't think about.
Yeah. Like for
Or
me,
they just want to make the money. I hate a lazy server and a lazy bartender more than anything.
oh, got
Hate
plenty
it.
of those. Trust me, I know.
They're all around and they're all crying in the corner about not making any money, you know?
Oh my God.
Like,
You literally talk about the perfect server at my job. Like, I love the man. Granted, cool guy outside of work, sucks as an employee. But yeah, definitely the same way. Bitches and bitches out. He doesn't make money, doesn't do anything as in run food, side work, or etc. Or even like help out. Like me, I go the extra mile too. If I'm at the bar waiting for my drink and I see a drink in front of me, I'm gonna run that drink real quick because that can just eliminate time. And I'll let the other server know, like, hey, bro, I just ran your drink. They're like, you talking about? I'm like, yeah, I ran your drink. He's like, thank you. I was like, don't get weird. You're welcome. Like, just
don't
accept
do
it. Nah, but yeah, also for management too. Like, I understand both ends of it. Like, I understand what they're going through, but then again, like you said, sometimes they don't understand what we go through, and that's why I felt like when it comes to management, it should be to where they're understanding on both sides because yes, guests are right away to a certain extent, but also we do too, because we're not the ones that cook the food. We're not the ones that manage to take a time or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like we're basically the middlemen. We're the messengers. Like we take the order, make sure like we got everything granted for one. Like for me, I always repeat my orders. As I'm taking them, I repeat them so they can confirm. So I'm like, all right, cool. So when it comes out, don't say that's not what you ordered because I looked at you dead in your soul and I asked you, this is what you wanted. And you said yes.
I love that. It's funny too because I'm sitting here saying stuff about like how management could do XYZ better. And Jessica's my manager too, and she's awesome, but she has been on our side. So she is very understanding. She's one of the understanding ones.
And it's a blessing to have those because I tell you, I mean, yeah, I've had cool managers, for myself as well that understood both sides of the story. But then again, from my experiences from prior to the old restaurant I first started with, when I left, none of the managers that I've grew up with opening that restaurant or anything never once said anything to me, especially when I was leaving. None of them said bye, none of that. Like they were just all pissed off because I was leaving. And I'm like, that just for me, it just doesn't make sense. Like if you care about an employee, you should care about like, their beings and like the fact that, they're going up in places. Like they're not gonna die in that restaurant. You know what I mean? They want to move up in life.
Be happy for them.
So yeah, but other than that though, I've had amazing managers. Like the restaurant that we opened up that was in a period, we didn't know shit. None of us. It was all brand new to all of us. It was new positions, new GM. It was all just brand new to all of us. So we were all scattered everywhere, but we all held it in together as like technically a family. And then in restaurants, you build family. Like weird as it says, like you can make family out of people that you genuinely spend time throughout the whole entire day, because technically you do. You spend time with the people that you're there with majority of the time, instead of
Your
being with
family.
yeah, and it's like family necessarily doesn't have to be blood. It just depends on what you make with your friendship connections,
And
and
I feel like the server restaurant industry is a place that you can make those genuine connections because you kind of are all, you all A, have the same personality, which we had kind of talked about before. But I mean, me personally, I've made my I was 16 years old sitting at the bar folding coloring sheets, watching the girl who trained me bartend. You know what I mean? Like I literally, they watched me grow up. Like you have a bond that you just can't, I mean, you can't get rid of. And
yeah,
then I live 250 miles away and I find a friend, and at work they're like, well, you can't be friends with the managers. And I said, well, I didn't drive 250 miles and lose all my friends to not have one. She just happened to
exactly,
be, you know, you just
yeah,
make, like, we're inseparable now. I feel
yeah.
like it just
No,
feels, you have like a family unit. And as dysfunctional as it can be, like everybody truly does care about each other for the most part.
yeah, oh yeah, 100%. I was actually a best man for one of my best friends that I met in the film industry, and so, I'm blessed for that. He's like my brother, and to this day I took dedication to move from where I grew up at to be closer to them, because they just had a baby. They would have number two coming up, and I just want to be around. I want to be around people that treated me and brought me into their lives as family. And I gotta thank the food industry for that.
Absolutely. And the people you can meet in the town, I mean, it's just an awesome way. Some people are meant to not work in the public, and some people thrive off of working in the public and meeting new people, and it can be very beneficial. I
Oh yeah.
mean,
Look at, you gotta think of it too. Look at the majority of the celebrities that have been in the food industry. Nicki Minaj, she was a server. Chris Pratt, he was in the food industry. There's so many people that were in the food industry that are big stars nowadays. You know what I mean? Because they were just people. Like you're just saying, they love being in public, they love talking to people, and that can be a connection to something. And just depends, like for this podcast thing, I actually started it off by because I love music and I wanted to get connections, but then I was just like, nah, I just love talking to people. I mean, that's why I'm doing this server talk, because I want to get, people to express themselves, and because yeah, you can do that at a bar or after work or whatever, but it's different when you're actually doing it like on camera, and you're actually like vibing with somebody that you never met. Like we never met, but here we
no,
are.
I was so nervous, but I feel like I talk to strangers every day. So what's the difference? You know,
It's just on camera, that's all.
this is actually really cool, and I'm super glad that you messaged me about it. I was very excited. I told
Yeah.
everyone I could
Cool.
talk for hours though. There's so many little offshoots of the subjects. It's like more than just one thing. I
Yeah.
don't know, broad. It's more than people always say, when are you going to get a real job? I'm like, I
This
think
is
I
a
might,
real job.
yeah, you know?
It is. I mean, like people just don't understand. Just because you don't get paid hourly and it's not a high rate does not mean you can't make money. You can. There's
Yeah.
there's there's just if you, for example, if you live on the beach, right? And it's just big. For example, no, better example, let's say you worked in the city, you have a bunch of celebrities or people with money that roll all the time come through, you're bound to make money even on a slow day. People are
Um,
willing.
I do. I also find even if you're not on the beach, like you're just, in good old the Midwest, if you where you work's by a hotel, you're going to get out of towners, you're going to get businessmen, you're going to get those large groups of people, teams coming in, events. I used to work when we had 6 hotels within walking distance right around it. And then here where I work, there's 2. So that is pretty helpful. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. That's when you're bartending, it's helpful because they normally go sit up at the bar, at least at a tall table. But
Yeah.
that's business as well. Any day can be a good day if you have the right mentality about it. And that's something I wish I could push on to a lot more people. If y'all were just happier beings, if you guys just acted like you enjoyed it a little bit, because you control how much money you make. Like nobody else controls it but you.
Yeah.
Because yeah, you might have got a bad table here, but if you let that snowball into the next one and then you're a shithead to the next table for no reason, you never know. They could have had $100 bill they were ready to give you. Like you
Yeah.
just don't know what anybody could leave you. You do not know.
No, trust me, I know. It shocked me when I first moved out to the area that I'm at now. The first couple of weeks that I was working there, I just stayed to myself. I just did what I knew, and they were all like, "Dude, to be honest with you, bro, like the years I've been coming here, you're one of the best service I've had." I'm like, I appreciate that. I thank you and all that stuff.
That's so good to hear
It
it.
it does. I'm like, oh, especially when you're fairly new to an area, you just like you're kind of like, I don't know. But he tipped me stupid. Like it was like he basically tipped the bill.
I
And
I love that so much because I was brand new and I can relate to everything you just said. You just have to show up, a new face, a new vibe, a new something that you can, yeah, I love that because it's great. I
it
love that.
is. This is amazing. It's a great feeling. It's kind of just like Christmas, you know?
Even if they tip you just like a standard tip, but write a note, like beyond like, here's my phone number, show me your boobs or something stupid. Like it really means a lot to me. I got a note the other day and I loved the way she wrote it. And I think I'll remember it until the day I die. It said, "For as busy as you were, you are impressively efficient." That's the best compliment I could ever get. Like, yeah, thank you. And I stapled that one at the top of my checkout. That way
Yeah.
everybody see it.
Just a reminder, like, look, this is
Hey,
what good
yeah,
service can get.
yeah.
That's awesome. You see,
But
yeah,
I have to go. I have to go to work now. I have to leave for work.
that's it. That's it. Well, you know what? In the future reference, we could always continue this conversation.
Okay.
It was great talking to you. I
Yeah.
hope you enjoyed this conversation. But yeah, let the viewers know who you are, and that's it.
All right. Well, I'm Hannah, and I hope he asks me to talk again with you guys.
All right, guys, it's John's
All right.
podcast. We are out.
Bye.
Bye.